Well, Jocelyn over in Ireland rather enjoyed that. How This Story Ends from Jordan Adams, who's my first guest this week on Backstage. Now, Jordan is a singer-songwriter and occasional theatre performer, as well as a care worker. And let's face it, we've all needed just a little bit of extra care over the last year with the pressures of COVID. Jordan released that song last Christmas to help raise funds for the NSPCC. Really rather nice, wasn't it? Let's find out more about the carer by day and performer at night. Jordan Adams, good afternoon to you.
Oh, good afternoon, Ian. It's so great to be here with you this afternoon.
Well, it's lovely for you to be here, and it's always nice. Otherwise, I sit here talking to myself, which is a little bit strange. The neighbours love looking in and thinking he's off again for a couple of hours. So, how this story ends for the NSPCC? Let's start there. Why?
Because obviously we're in very difficult times at the moment, and because of everything that's happened around entertainment, theatre, performances, obviously, when the pandemic hit, this all completely went. And for myself, like many, many other performers and anybody that works in theatre and entertainment, there's no work out there, or the work just goes. You can't do anything. So I decided that a great thing to do would continue to bring joy to people's lives. So with kids, it's very important, again, this time, particularly vulnerable children from troubled backgrounds. So I'm working with kids and through the pandemic, and decided that I wanted to do something else to raise money for children. And NSPCC was an amazing charity that I work very closely with anyway through the care work that I do, and decided to write this song and release this song to raise funds for them. So for me, it was kind of a real natural kind of switch from one thing to the other. I was still able to sing, I was still able to write, and I wrote this song at a time where I think, it was a question of, what can I do that reminds people of pantomimes, holiday movies, theatre?
Anything fun.
Yes, absolutely anything fun. So, the story, how this story ends, about a prince meeting his princess, and that's how it came about.
Is it easy doing charity records? Because over the years, there have been hundreds of them. Do charities welcome them with open arms? Or, do you have to sort of tick lots of boxes to make sure it's for the right reasons and you're the right person to be supporting that charity?
That's a really interesting question, and you're absolutely right. It is about having the right song for the right charity, and there are certain things that obviously the charity look at in order to kind of be associated on any level when it comes to that. So there are a few boxes that need to be ticked, but fortunately, we were lucky. I was lucky. NSPCC is an amazing charity to be involved with, and they were quite happy and very pleased to be. For me to do this and to help raise money for them. So yes, it was a good choice.
And I read somewhere that the kids that you were looking after at the time absolutely loved the fact that you look after them during the day, and then normally you'd be out at night, strutting your stuff on stage.
Do you know what? They absolutely love it. And some of the kids that I have looked after have come and seen me on stage, and I believe it or not,
that must be scary.
Scary for them, yes, definitely. But because these children come from vulnerable backgrounds, some of these children have never set foot in a theatre. They've never seen a live performance. So for a couple of children that I have looked after previously, it was something that was out of this world to them. They just couldn't believe what they were seeing. Excuse me. And so for me, still, at the moment, I am looking. I'm there. I'm a care worker. It doesn't stop me singing. It doesn't stop me singing in the car. It doesn't stop me trying to entertain them throughout the day when I'm doing the washing up, because it's just what I do. And it's, to be honest with you, it's what they expect, and they do love it.
But what do they like? Are they forced to like your kind of music, or do you have to adapt your singing while you're doing the washing up to what they like?
Sometimes it's a bit tricky because, of course, the music is a little bit different these days, particularly for the age. The children that I look after, 15, 12, 14 and 15-year-olds.
Oh, how's your rap, love?
That's exactly it. I have to kind of convince them a little bit more that my taste in music is better than theirs. But you know what? They enjoy it.
It must be a kind of strange, but in some way fulfilling life, doing obviously what you do and you love with the young people during the day, and then doing what you also love at night. You almost get, two bites of the cherry.
I think that it's you're absolutely right. It is two bites of the cherry, but I am, in a sense, two completely different people. Yes, it crosses over, but it's almost as if once I put the suit on, I become a different person, and it is a great thing to be doing, because it then the people that I've met, the things that I've seen in my life, and the people that I've helped, I suppose for me that the result is exactly the same across the board. Whether I'm looking after young people or whether I'm on a stage performing in front of people, what I'm hoping to do is make a difference and bring a bit of joy to those people's lives.
Well, it is two bites of the cherry, but on the other side, I guess it's two pretty hard-hitting environments. Children will tell you what they think, whether you're performing or whether you're looking after them. So I'm sure you have to sort of face that. And for any aspiring performer to take to the stage, it takes guts and it takes a lot of resilience.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It absolutely is. And, because when you're a performer, you're all about the audience. And a lot of the time when you're performing, sometimes people haven't seen you as a performer. So you've got new audiences that are coming in. So what I always try to do is I always imagine that it's exactly the same audience that I've ever had in my life sat in front of me. So the first time that I ever walk onto the stage, normally first 30 seconds to a minute, I'm convincing myself these are the same people that I've been performing to religiously. And that kind of works for me. Because it is all about, having the audience on side and also giving them something that they absolutely enjoy. And when they leave, they are going to be feeling that they've had this amazing experience in the theatre.
There's something very special, I think, about musical theatre performers, or just performers that sing musical theatre songs as well as their own stuff, because the audience that you can build up, the fan base, is incredibly loyal. They will follow you to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I couldn't believe it because musical theatre originally wasn't a natural place for me to fall when I first decided that I was going to entertain. And since I've done it, you're absolutely right. The audience and the people that have come to see me historically over the years have been so loyal. They have followed me. They have, every single thing that I have done, they've engaged in. And for me, that means more than anything in the world, to be honest. It really does. And that's why I do it. That's what I'm here for. That's what we all do it for.
You're mad. That's my view. I love watching it. Couldn't do it. I wouldn't have the what to do it. To be perfectly honest, I better not say that word on the Sunday lunchtime live on the radio. So if it wasn't musical theatre, what was it that drew you to singing? How did it start?
I started at a very young age. I was about 12 years old when I first decided that I wanted to be a performer of some kind, whether it be a singer, whether it be an actor, whatever it was. And the first time that I ever decided that I was going to attempt singing in any way, shape or form was doing some recording and mixing on a little Amstrad cassette studio in my bedroom. And I used to sit there and sing all of the kind of current pop songs that were around in that era. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
I was going to say, we'll leave the age as undefined. Otherwise, if you start telling us what it is, people will work it out. He looks very good for 73, though, I have to say, on a Sunday afternoon.
Working on it. So that's where it kind of all started. So it was very much pop. But then later on, a few years later, I then discovered musical theatre, and that is where that's where it settled. That's where my heart lies with it all. And to be honest with you, it was a really easy transition for me. Because, of course, musical theatre and music is absolutely amazing. And, of course, particularly a lot of the shows as well.
But it's all about the emotion, and it's the acting of the song, isn't it, with musical theatre, that just lifts it that little bit higher than a good old-fashioned pop song.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the emotion, and you have to put everything into it. I've been lucky because I've had to play some real tough characters when I've been in shows and within theatre. So it's not only that, the emotion. Sometimes you're performing as a completely different person. You're American. Yeah, you're British. You're a bit older, you're a bit younger, and it's about adapting that and putting everything together. I think probably my greatest challenge that my greatest challenge, there've always been challenges. Playing Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady was...
You're far too young for Henry Higgins.
But the transition that I had to make to get from where I am now to him, and that come across in a performance... It was unbelievable, really, and I don't know how I did it. It just, everything clicked. Again, I've been The King and The King and I, and that was an incredibly challenging part to play.
Yes, because he's so aloof. It's an incredible role because you can't help but love him, but actually deep down you hate him because he's horrible to everybody.
Yes, he is horrible to everybody. But then everybody, they finish. They're heartbroken at the end.
Yeah,
people in the audience are in tears eventually. And so, I mean, it's a character that people do fall in love with. But for me, it was, when it comes down to the way that Youll Brynner played it, that accent is not really an accent of any kind anywhere in the world, and replicating that was really important to me. Mannerisms, and all of those kind of things, particularly with the way that I look, having the audience convinced that the king is stood on that stage was really important to me, and then that all comes down to character.
It's called acting skill, and I've read some reviews. They were all very, very good for you, Jordan. So you obviously did it well. Let's pause and hold it for some music. Now, here's a character that maybe one day, you never know, the Phantom of the Opera. Probably musical theatre royalty in many ways. A total enigma, a really scary but loving character in his relationship with Christine. You very kindly sent us a recording of Music of the Night, so let's hear that and we'll come back and talk a little bit more. There you go, Jordan Adams with Music of the Night from Phantom of the Opera. If you're watching the clock, it's 10-1 on Sunday the 28th of February, 1st of March tomorrow. Does that mean it's the first day of spring? I think it possibly does. Jordan Adams is my guest in this part of the programme on Backstage on 2ndCity Radio. That song, actually, what I loved about that song was only 2.5 minutes, because the one in the show goes on and on and on and on and on. And in the show, I love it. On radio, I can't stand that full-blown 5-minute track of Music of the Night. But, going back to what we were talking about, that is very much an acted song, isn't it, Music of the Night?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because it's all about... There are so many emotions, so many feelings that you have to kind of encompass when that song is being performed. It's very easy, and I've fallen into this mistake time and time again of just reading the words. You have to be invested emotionally into it, because if you're not invested emotionally into it, then the audience will see straight through it, and that's pretty much with everything in musical theatre. No,
absolutely. So you mentioned that it wasn't musical theatre, but it was. Your sort of career began to focus on that. So how does a teenager, a young gentleman, sort of break into the world of entertainment? How did you do it?
I think it was a lot of hard work, perseverance, and luck. And you know what? I get asked this question a lot on social media. Where can I start? What can I do? And in fact, there was somebody, she messaged me the other day on Twitter and said, I would like to get into singing. I would like to get into acting, but I can't do it because I need a microphone. I need a musical instrument. There was a number of things that she needed. And I messaged her back and said, you know what, all that you needed to do is believe in yourself. And if you love to sing, then sing. If you want to perform, then there are opportunities out there on any level for you to do that. So my advice always to anybody is, particularly now, you have to focus your energy exactly where you need to be. I think perhaps I could say I wasted a few years because I thought I was going to go off and work and be a pop star, and that actually wasn't where I was supposed to be. So find your passion, stick to it, absolutely believe in yourself, and it's like I've always said, you can achieve anything.
But it's very hard. In many ways, nowadays, it's easier than it was probably when you started, because mobile phones have got fantastic HD camera. I didn't have a mobile phone when I was a kid. All of the sort of music channels that are available. Anyone can seemingly create a YouTube channel, and it was what was it? Not My Music. Well, I can't remember what it was called. Back in the day, I remember when
MySpace.
That's it, MySpace.
Yeah.
I remember when that sort of came along. So in some ways, it's easier, but that belief and passion, you're right, is absolutely key. However, it's about resilience as well, isn't it? This is probably the toughest business in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to be resilient, because if you're not, you can very easily give up. Because there is a lot of competition out there. It is incredibly hard work. Sometimes, I've known when I've had to look at a script or learn a song, and it's been 2:00 in the morning, and I've had to learn it, and I'm thinking to myself, it is never going to work. I'm not going to be able to do this. There have been many times where I've cried into my pillow when it comes to this, and there are those parts of it that are incredibly tough. So that resilience is important with anybody that's thinking about any kind of performing, I suppose.
But I think you're right. I think it is about learning your skill and knowing what it is you're good at. Because on the other hand, whilst we say it's easy, you can take your X Factors, your Pop Idols, your Voice UK, all of that. They can be great platforms, but it's very, very hard to do those, isn't it? And if you do succeed, and frankly, a number of musical theatre performers have gone on to The Voice, and the chairs have not turned for them, and they're right at the top of their game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's always probably one of the, if anybody was to do that, to go into a competition like that. I mean, if I was to consider going and doing something like that, would be my worst nightmare, because you can get judged in that second if those chairs don't turn, or if the audience don't stand up and give you a standing ovation. But you're right, people are at the top of the game. And it is all about, again, audience perception, people's perception in general. It comes down, like you say, to resilience and knowing who you are as a person and where you want to go as a performer.
So where are you as a person? Where do you want to go as a performer? Are you a singer-songwriter? Are you a singer-songwriter, musical theatre performer? Are you a one-man concert show?
Do you know what? I think that's... Oh,
come on, the media. I've got to pigeonhole you. I can't let you across all three. I've got to put you in a box somewhere, Jordan.
I like to think I'm a musical theatre one-man performance now is where it's kind of going, because I have experienced so much, and I've been very fortunate to perform on different stages with some incredible people. And for me now, it's coming to a point now, actually, I've kind of harnessed the skill, and I can entertain my own audience and put together my own shows. And for me, that's incredibly important. It's almost like you evolve. You know, here I am amongst other people. I'm performing and playing these great characters and singing these amazing songs. So what can I do to kind of take myself one step further than that? I know I'll take these amazing songs and I'll go and perform them to an audience that I can create. And amongst doing that, at the same time, I can, every now and again write a good song.
But I think, the wonderful thing about musical theatre performance, sometimes you don't want to sit through 2.5 hours of Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, Hairspray, whatever it might be. A show that brings a collection of your favourite songs from your favourite shows ensures you leave the theatre with a huge smile on your face, and you've not been, combined to just one show.
Absolutely. And you know what the great thing is when you do that is you take everybody on a roller coaster of emotion, because of the amount of different types of musical theatre songs that there are out there. And I think that's what it is about. It's about taking people on a journey, the highs and the lows through the music, and everybody has a different song. Everybody has their favourite musical. Everybody has their favourite song from a musical. So even if somebody is sat there and they're thinking, this isn't my favourite song, pretty much guarantee the next one will be. Yeah, so it's absolutely right, and it is that journey.
So what's the opening number of Jordan Adams? What's the one song you always go to when you open a show?
Oh, goodness me. There's been so many.
Come on, it hasn't been that long.
I love This Is the Moment from Jekyll and Hyde. I absolutely adore that song.
Shame about the musical, but a great song.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, it does come down to that. The song is amazing. So I do like that. I do love Les Mis. I do love Stars from Les Mis, so that is another one of my go-to ones. There are so many. You're putting the thumb screws on me now, aren't you?
Yep, absolutely. It's my job. It's my job as an interviewer. Yeah, that's how it all is. Okay, so what about the end? What's the big number to finish on?
The big number to finish on is one of the songs. You'll Never Walk Alone is one that I absolutely. It's incredible. It's an incredible song.
It's an anthem, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can guarantee you, at any show when I have performed that song, the audience, again, it's that roller coaster of emotion, because you can hear that kind of elation that this is a song that we all know and we can actually enjoy, and you see people, kind of joining in, and then of course afterwards. Because of the nature of the song and because of how many different ways it can be played and heard outside of musical theatre, people have all got that personal connection to it. And it is one of those songs that after a show, people will come to me and say, oh my God, that was incredible. It reminded me of. So that for me is a great song.
I think the wonderful thing about You'll Never Walk Alone is hardly anyone realises it comes from Carousel. They all really, if they're football fans, that it's the Liverpool song, but it's Jerry and the Pacemakers, isn't it? But there's so much depth to the words. It's an incredible song.
Yes, it is an incredible song, and like I say, I think that's why there is always that huge reaction afterwards.
So, are you writing at the moment?
Yes, I am. Would
you like to share anything with us on the air? I mean, I won't ask you to sing. You're all right. Well, you're welcome to sing.
I think it's all about that creativity, isn't it? And I think the important thing for me is when I'm writing I write from life experience. And a lot of the things that I'm putting together now, I'm writing now, we're going through some very difficult times at the moment. And for me, it's about writing a song that can kind of encompass that, but also bring joy to people at the same time. So that's where I am. It's all from the heart. I love a good power ballad.
So when you write, do you sit down and say, right, I'm going to write? Or do you wait till the feeling to write takes over, or are you sort of constantly making notes when things pop into your head?
What I do is I constantly make notes, because every day brings something new. I might meet somebody new and they'll say something, oh, that's a brilliant line, or I can use that in a song, or that there's always a story. And for me, it's about combining everything around me to bring that great song together. So that's how it works for me. I will not sit down and purposely go, I'm going to write a song today, because that is the worst thing to do. The notes will be there, and then the inspiration will come, and I can write a song.
So it's almost like putting a jigsaw puzzle together.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? I have been known to get up at 3:00 in the morning and then all of a sudden have this inspiration to write a song. And I've been sat at the kitchen table writing a song that, has turned out to be one of the best ones that I've ever written.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a delight talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us. If people listening want to find out more, how do they find out about you, Jordan?
You can find me on my social media. At Jordan Adams on Twitter. I will always respond to messages on there. I do have a Facebook page, Jordan Adams Music, but all of these things can be found at the jordanadams.com official website. It's jordanadamsofficial.com, actually.
I didn't want to correct you. It's like, yes, put these words into a famous phrase or saying, and eventually you'll find you. Or you can just use whatever search engine you use. It's Jordan Adams, but he's not the American baseball player.
No, Jordan Adams the singer. Jordan Adams the singer in Google, and I'm there.
That's how you find him. It's been a delight to speak to you. I'm going to play my favourite song from Les Miserables. It's your recording of Stars. And as I said to you whilst we were listening to Music of the Night, I'm very particular about this. And so if it wasn't very good, I wouldn't have played it. So you have the Ian Brown seal of approval. Your career is God blessed now, is all I can say. Jordan, thank you very much, and long may you continue.